Migrant Caravan. I feel like I've seen this movie somewhere before, but I also feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding out there about what migrant caravans are, what they aren't. So, look, by a 2-to-1 margin, this is according to Rasmussen, by a 2-to-1 margin, voters want the migrant caravans stopped at the border. There's not some gigantic American clamoring to let them all in. But you may not even know what it is. Maybe I don't either, although I know everything. Joining me now with the CARTEL Chronicles, Breitbart.com, the guy who's forgotten more about immigration, illegal immigration cartels than anybody I've ever known, Brandon Darby. Brandon, why is there a migrant caravan? Who organizes it? How does it start? Where does it start? Give me the goods.
Well, so usually what happens is people from all over the world, actually, but in this case, people from mostly from Central America, they end up getting into deals with cartels, various cartels, usually the Gulf Cartel or Los Zetas, and they make a deal to come to the U.S. border and then to get crossed into the United States. And then they spend the next however many years making weekly or biweekly payments to the cartel, wiring money back and so forth. So a lot happens to those people who come here, depending on whose estimates you listen to, whether it's Doctors Without Borders or Amnesty International, anywhere from 33% to 80-something% of the migrant females who come are sexually assaulted along the way. Many times migrants come and they're left to die or they're killed once they've paid some money and they just decide, hey, I don't feel like taking them across today, I'll just kill them. So a lot of bad things happen. So what happens in Central America is sometimes people who are trying to make a political statement, other times people who are simply trying to protect the people coming here, they say, hey, if we organize a caravan and put everyone together, then they can get through Mexico more safely to the U.S. border. And, like I said, sometimes that's people who have a political agenda. Sometimes that's people who are simply advocates for those people and they want to try to keep them safe. And other times it's a mixture of both of those, right? And you usually can't tell what's going on or who's organizing it until later, and then you start to get into the facts. But that's how these things form and what they are.
So it's a protection, obviously with some exceptions, it's a protection against cartels abusing people. Now, what was the policy when we had people remember we had all these migrant caravans coming and then all of a sudden they stopped? What changed? Did Trump do something? Who did what?
Well, yes, so Trump did. So basically just to start off with, right? Anytime you have illegal immigration or regular migration, whatever you want to call it, you have to have push factors and you have to have pull factors, right? So push factors are the things in their countries of origin that suck or that are awful, like whether it's jobs or violence or war or whatever. And then the pull factors are things that we do. Like if we have a good economy, that's a pull factor. If we have policies that allow people to stay here once they get here, that's a pull factor that encourages them to come. So when you have the push and the pull factor, you make it inevitable that people are going to try to make that illicit journey here, right? So in the Trump administration, what Trump began to do was a policy called Remain in Mexico. So if you were coming here to say, I want asylum, they would make you stay in Mexico while they adjudicated your asylum claim, rather than just allow you to come into the U.S. and then let you go in the United States, and then maybe you don't show back up, right? The other thing that they did was they encouraged Mexico and other nations to get more strict at their borders and to not allow people in big groups to come through. And all of those things together did lower the numbers. If people thought, hey, there's less of a chance I'm going to get to stay in the United States, where they're like, I'm not going to get in debt for $5,000 or $10,000 to the Gulf cartel and not be able to pay him back and get someone in my family killed. So less people came.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me, like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.